This is Dominique Wilkins.
Hey, this is Sean Kemp.
This is Gary Payton.
Hey, this is Pau Gasol.
NBA fans, what's up? This is Vince Carter here.
Hey, what's up? This is Matt Barnes. If you're an old school NBA fan like I am, make sure you check out the Basketball Time Machine with my man Sean David.
Hello and good day everyone, welcome back to the Basketball Time Machine. I'm your host Sean David, thanks for tuning in. Now you know what time it is old school NBA time, so in today's episode I want to take a look at 10 of the greatest signature moves of all time. And just to be clear, this is an old school version, so you're not going to find a step back of James Harden, this kind of stuff. I'm talking about the classic stuff. So buckle up, and I would say let's dive right into today's episode. So where do we start with this list? I would say let's start with the crossover, so Tim Hardaway and Allen Iverson. Back in the late 1980s, when Tim Hardaway arrived in the NBA, fans could not believe what they were seeing. Tim was not only a player that was super fast, but he could handle the ball like no other. When he introduced the killer crossover, he not only made opponents look really bad, but downright embarrassed them. Of course, there were other players before him that had a nice crossover, like Isaiah Thomas, for example. But Tim really made this move his signature move.
Not done the job tonight. Hardaway backs off on Thomas. Oh, and he exploded and goes! That was brilliant!
Every bit as good as Richmond's move in the first half.
Fast forward 8 years later, Allen Iverson entered the NBA and presented his version of the crossover. A slightly different move where he would take the ball far up, outside of the box, and then take it super low with speed that nobody could keep up.
As a kid, Allen had bragged to his coach about taking MJ. And now, he'd finally get his chance.
When I grabbed the ball, I heard Phil Jackson yell, "Michael."
Iverson has Jordan. The crowd is into it.
I gave him a little cross to see would he bite on it. I let him set his feet, and then I stepped it back again.
Allen shakes free, gets two!
Next on my list, I have Larry Bird's fall away. Before there was Dirk Nowitzki's one-legged fadeaway, there was Larry Bird's fall away. The combination of Larry's size and his touch was deadly, and the reason why he was a matchup nightmare for many players. Larry made this move his own and showed that you don't have to be the quickest player in order to be unguardable.
Bird wanted to pass into Parrish. High arcing fall away. Most coaches would say you're out of the game trying a shot like
Bird, the fall away is good. Moment to go, Doc Rivers back in. Bird. They open the right side. Bird, the fall away. He drills it again. That's the best shooting I've ever seen in the game.
Yes, indeed.
So the next move of this list is by a player where I'm really sure that not everybody remembers him. I'm talking about Steve Coulter, the crooked leg.
And who are you telling me is your toughest guy to check?
Steve Coulter.
Oh, of course, we all knew that.
The crooked leg. he had a move.
Get a ball. Get a ball.
Ball right here. He had a move.
I guard you.
I couldn't.
I guard you.
I could not.
Come over here. I guard you.
And we would call it the crooked leg. He's going right, full speed, and he would stop, plant his left leg really hard. And then he would throw the ball and be gone with it. Full speed, right? And so Washington had this great scorer by the name of Jeff Malone.
Oh, yeah.
And we would come to the arena. We playing the Washington Bullets Wizards now, right? And I would say to Dumars, hey, you take Steve Coulter. I got Jeff Malone.
A minute 45 left, third quarter. Coulter, Hibbity House, front court straight away. Stockton with him, behind the back dribble. Eaton is there to block it. And Banks saves it on the court to Corzine, but he stepped out of bounds. That's Michael Jordan. Right, front court, Coulter. Bulls with a 9-point lead. Coulter down the middle, knocked away from behind by Stockton and out of bounds. Now move it down court. to Steve Colton. Behind the back dribble to the left hand. Stockton catches up. Coulter drives on him. Trying to go up, and there's another foul.
And the next move also falls in the same kind of category of forgotten moves. And I'm talking about Steve Smith and his move, the Smitty. It's kind of funny. I spoke to many NBA legends about that move, and no matter who I talked to, they would all say the same thing. In the scouting report, it would always say, don't go for that move, but in reality, everybody went for it.
What did defenders used to do to try and avoid this? Because here's the thing, now we use video, right? So if a guy always goes with his right, we know that and we figure out how to make him go with his left. How do you get half your point? First of all, that's an over-exaggeration, but to do that throughout your career and still get dudes 6 years in, how come nobody could adjust?
Now, next on my list, I have George Gervin with his finger roll. Now, when we talk about the Iceman, it's very important to me to state that he's one of the greatest to ever do it. And he's far more than just one signature move. In his heyday, he was probably one of the best scorers of all time, but the one thing that made him really stand out was his style of play and his legendary finger roll.
A true finger roll goes like this. A player, typically with downhill momentum, gets about 5 to 12 feet away from the rim, and instead of running past the backboard and shooting, they pull back their forward momentum as they elevate. While in the air, the player extends their arm and then softly rolls the ball off of their fingertips. Not every underhanded shot is a finger roll. A key distinction is in the separation of those last two movements. Full extension and then that soft, underhanded rolling flick motion. If done correctly, you're stopping the horizontal flight of the ball and instead flipping it upwards and allowing it to fall. That gives the ball a better chance to go in.
Now, while we're talking about the 1970s and 1980s now, of course we have to talk about Kareem Abdul-Jabbar and probably the most known signature move of all time, the skyhook. It's unbelievable. The skyhook is considered the deadliest weapon in NBA history, and still nobody has mastered it or even tried to use it in modern NBA basketball. But also we have to remember that this is a very difficult shot and not everybody is Kareem. I really believe that Jabbar probably scored like 10,000 points with that move. And that's why this signature move will never be forgotten, even if nobody in modern NBA basketball will even try it.
Kareem Abdul-Jabbar was far and away the best player I ever played against. The skyhook was unstoppable.
Kareem was throwing that skyhook from everywhere on people. Yeah, from the free throw line, from the deep in the corners.
He could shoot it on the sides, front of the basket, and once he started to turn and had his body between you and the basket, there's no way to block that shot.
No one had the size of Kareem, the athletic lift of Kareem.
The greatest offensive weapon ever unleashed, in the NBA.
This is just unstoppable. And man, we was 7'2", 7'3", and when he rolled across the middle with that magnificent hook, it was no one can block it.
It's like almost like a boxer with a big right hand. You know it's coming. You've been thinking about it. You've been focusing on it all day. And then once he gets you in the right position, there's not much you can do about it.
Next on my list, I have the Dream Shake of Hakeem the Dream Olajuwon, my favorite big of all time. And when we're talking about a player that had all the moves, we have to talk about Hakeem.
Oh, man. You got a camera?
Bulls have a 7-4 lead here.
Opening up to Clerk. Turns inside.
The
Dream Shake! Olajuwon spinning one way, back the following. The Dream! Put a little Dream Shake! Work on Bryant, turns to the right side this time. Trying to turn baseline.
Now, how could I have a signature top 10 list without Michael Jordan and his fadeaway? And with MJ, it was pretty amazing that when he was playing in the 1980s, everybody was talking about his incredible dunks and his incredible highlights. But in the 1990s, when you talk about MJ, you have to talk about his fadeaway.
With Pippen in the open floor, guarded by Glenn Rice. Here is Jordan with a turnaround over Armstrong. He knew he had him. And Michael Jordan now.
And next on my list, one of the most underrated point guards of his generation, Mark Price, and splitting the pick and roll.
Ernie, can I just mention one guy's name who I think is one of the most underrated players of our era, who nobody ever talks about anymore, is Mark Price. He was so good. You remember how
hardest to check on the pick and roll. He was splitting the pick and roll.
Man.
He created the split.
Yes.
Nobody was splitting pick and rolls.
Court, he was back waiting in the lane.
He picks his spots to run, both offensively and defensively. Price can get in the lane. He can do that almost at will and draw fouls.
7:15 to go in the third. 5-point lead now for Detroit. Price on a floating one-hander. Nice shot. Oh, he split the defense.
Half minute left, third quarter. Oh, what a move. What a move.
Alright, you guys, that was it for today's episode. I hope you enjoyed this video. If so, please leave a like and also subscribe to the channel. And I guess I'll see you next time on the Basketball Time Machine. You all stay healthy, take care, and goodbye.